Hey guys, Black Tyler here. Actually, what I meant to say was, hi everyone, this is Kenzie. Section 31 is a weird fucking thing. I'm not very into Trek, but I've explained my position within the franchise in this video and this video, but to put it very briefly, I find things about it very interesting, but the overall Trek experience is just not for me. However, I love Star Trek Lower Decks, and me being the cameraman and part-time editor for Orange River, resident sci-fi guy who goons to Tendi, and I watch, I'm always in proximity to something Trek related, so I can't help but have thoughts on things from time to time. But now? Oh baby, Section 31 has me in a chokehold. Section 31 is the newest Trek movie that is sweeping the nation, but sweeping in the sense that you're sweeping dandruff off your pillow in the morning. No one likes it. Like, literally no one. For several reasons, either the way that it's made, or the way that it fits into the lore, or the fact that it has something to do with Discovery, which is a whole other level of hate. This movie is a part of a phenomenon that is lovingly referred to as New Trek by fans, and it's spelled N-U for some reason, I don't know. And New Trek is anything made by Alex Kurtzman, the new frontrunner of the IP. I know it probably needs no introduction if you really stumbled this far out of your way for a Section 31 video, but I mention it because this is one of the things that I have not heard a single defense for from fans, so that only made me wonder one thing. What would I, someone who knows next to nothing about Trek that deeply, feel about this movie that is essentially Trekkie 9/11? I aim to answer that question for myself and anyone else who might be curious. Is this movie truly irredeemable to someone who is an excruciatingly casual observer of Trek? Before we get to it, a word from today's sponsor, Architects of Fate. Hey, are you looking to build an adventure with friends? Well, I might just have the place for you. Architects of Fate is a Twitch channel that specializes in tabletop RPGs with an emphasis on interactive gameplay and storytelling, all for free. Just by jumping into chat, you can make the lives of the game master and players easier or harder. It's up to you. Not only do Architects of Fate play well-known RPGs like 5th edition D&D, but they also play less common RPGs like Star Trek, Star Wars, Conan, Aliens, and more. Plus totally original games like Solar Patrol and Bad Horse's Evil League of Evil with the two-headed DM. Architects of Fate even has community game nights with chat. They're always looking for new games to share with each other and invite you to play alongside them. The goal of each stream is to make sure every player and viewer gets their chance to contribute and shine. If you like Star Trek, check out Bajor Rising on Mondays, featuring an ad hoc team of junior officers on the Galaxy-class USS Odyssey. Players embark on official and classified missions in support of Bajoran independence during the Cardassian occupation. They discover the prophets may not be mythical, and another, greater enemy may have plans for the sector. Join in to help weave tales of covert operations, moral dilemmas, and the struggle for freedom. Thanks to viewer requests, Architects also has a new adventure story on alternating Mondays called Back in Business, featuring Ferengi traders making their way in a post-Dominion War galaxy under the edicts of Nagus Ram. There's also Cookie Trek streaming every Friday. Hosts and chat collaborate as a writer's room to craft original, often hilarious Trek-inspired stories that draw from the entirety of Trek lore. This season explores the exploits of the newly christened Florida-class Starbase Tallahassee. Started in early 2019 by Chief Architect Nat Too Shabby, Architects of Fate continues his family's tradition of tabletop gaming and late-night storytelling by sharing the experience with everyone. So come watch and join a group of players to write new stories and forge new friendships. Architects of Fate can be watched live on Twitch or rewatched on YouTube at the links in the description below. Big thanks to Architects of Fate for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get it.
It's my stress, that's for sure.
The first thing I did was get a look at the trailer, but not initially of my own volition because I was pulling assets for a video that Orange River was making. At this point, I had no interest in watching, but as soon as I heard,
"Okay, ladies, now let's get information," I say,
Beyonce? Sasha Fierce? In a Trek movie? Oh, so this is what we're doing. I was expecting some kind of Giacchino type beat, but nah, they put Beyonce on the track. Now I am morbidly curious, and a video idea is born. The trailer was giving girl boss CIA agent from start to finish. This woman, pictured all royal and badass, is a murderer. This is told to us in the trailer, and I couldn't do shit but smile. It all became so clear in just under 2 minutes. It's Star Trek Birds of Prey, it's Star Trek Guardians of the Galaxy, it's Star Trek Suicide Squad. Girl, please, I have to watch it now. So let's start from the beginning. I can't wait. This movie starts in a sickly yellow-colored place called the Terran Empire, and we see our main character, Philippa Georgiou, walking looking over a hill and everyone is happy to see her. This is her family, and she poisons them in order to fill the requirements to become the emperor of the Terran Empire. Isn't it crazy how this is just the backstory for Itachi Uchiha from Naruto, but whatever. This woman just killed her family. Straight up, no asterisk. Now to direct you to the trailer where she's bad bitching it up with Beyonce in the background. No, I ain't letting that go, by the way. She becomes emperor and is now a murderous dictator over the Terran Empire. Yas Queen, I hope they don't glorify this. Now look, I'm not gonna bitch and moan about evil characters being evil because that isn't my wheelhouse, but that trailer definitely gave off a very strange vibe about this character. Like, yeah, she's a murderer, but look at her makeup, girl. It's a wee bit cringe, but whatever, we still got a lot of movie left to go. In the present day, they are giving a briefing on the current mission, and Starfleet needs a mission done by Section 31 because Section 31 are essentially the fixers of this world, getting their hands dirty when Starfleet needs some less than by-the-books work done, and they need Georgiou for this because she is currently under an alias at the place they need to complete the mission at. Because Section 31 is an underground spy organization or whatever, it really seems like they let this influence the decision to edit this movie annoying as fuck. Slide transitions, weird crossfades, stupid fucking zooms, like seriously, the zooms are so obnoxious. Like, how would y'all feel like at any moment during me filming, I was just gonna be like, damn, back the hell up? I'm sure I'm gonna bring this up later for yucks, but just know that they never slow it down with the superhero movie tier editing. Also, if you didn't know how awful JoJo was, she just straight up eats eyeballs. Like, do they not have honey buns in this world or something? Like, why do you gotta eat eyeballs? I guess when the actress says she wanted to be a role model, I suppose she was also talking about hologas from Miss Peregrine's. So the Section 31 guy named Alok requests to speak with Georgiou privately under the guise of him not being Section 31. But nah, you can't pull a fast one on a notorious genocider. They do a Suicide Squad style montage of her basically saying she peeped him and his agents ever since they arrived. And yes, more zoomer edits are present. It's a stylistic choice, of course. I don't doubt that whoever was making this movie was having a headache-inducing amount of fun, but if I may say, I really don't understand the goal here. 15 minutes into the movie and I'm having a hard time figuring out who this is for exactly. From what I know about Star Trek and its fans is that a movie like this is truly not gonna make any of them happy. I am aware that Section 31, the group, was portrayed as the dark corners of Starfleet's morals. They get the blood on their hands, so to speak, yet here they are being introduced like this is a newly released hero shooter. The characters look good and all, and I really don't mind them existing or whatever, but this is a Star Trek movie, right? They're clearly trying to appeal to an audience that probably would never watch another Star Trek anything after this. So, someone closer to me. And what they are doing so far does nothing for me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the fan base was ever going to appreciate Yonsei and Yas Queenisms attached to the deep dark depths of Starfleet intelligence that are allowed to do whatever it takes to get the job done. This movie definitely relies on not knowing anything about the subject matter, but even without it, we know that the characters flat out praise this woman who killed her family to become emperor and cause genocide. Like I said earlier, cringe, but let's keep going. After introducing all of the characters, Alok mentions that he could wipe her memories or leave her with her genocidal memories. She eats live eyeballs, dude. I don't think she cares. He's trying to entice her to rejoin with Section 31 for one last mission. And of course, we wouldn't have a movie if she said no, so here they are. Everyone in Suicide 31 is very quirky and maybe even a bit silly. At this point, I'm just kind of glazed over because it feels like I'm watching 4 movies at once. 2 DC movies, 1 Marvel movie, and Wicked because I started watching Wicked. So of course they all know she's a murderer, but they simply use this as a way to make punchlines rather than actually engaging with this. So I'm just gonna assume that this whole murder thing doesn't matter. And I don't know yet, but I think I'm gonna be right. You know what does matter though? Dude, these edits are like, they don't feel intentional. It's like they slid the wrong presets on the timeline or something. And look, my editing ain't perfect either. If it were, I'd be editing Section 31 instead of a video roasting it, right? But look at this, like for real, it just feels off. No shame to the editor, I'm sure they do wonderful work and they make wonderful money, but if it were me, I just wouldn't do this. And I will definitely most likely continue to make fun of it. It's like the zoom tool is punching my ass in the face. If someone wanted to make fun of my editing, go for it. I love my glitch transitions. If you don't, that's absolutely fine, but like I said, it just feels off. Just saying. Moving forward a bit, because this is the part of the movie that is not really worth a breakdown. If you've seen Over the Hedge, you've seen this part. The plan for the mission, of course, doesn't go according to Keikaku, and after an action scene that was pretty decent, she gets her leg trapped in a wall due to some kind of phase shifting device, allowing her to go through walls, and her leg only gets freed when the mystery guy gets away with the mission MacGuffin. Convenient, but that item is actually something that Georgiou is familiar with and thought was destroyed, and Alok asks her what it is, but she goes on the offensive and he shoots her to end this little act off. off. We get a little flashback about her history with this strange 3D octagon device, and then we meet her as the Emperor talking to the guy that she was competing with by killing her family by poisoning them. Yeah, this is that same dude that she was telling we are 2 and 1 and 7, 8, 9 or whatever the hell. Spoiler warning, and I promise it is a big spoiler warning. You got 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1.5. This guy is the one that stole the device if it weren't painfully obvious already. He has a deep hatred for her for how she turned out to be a stone cold murderer ruling with an iron fist instead of the girl he once knew, and it's so wild that she uses that little we are 2 but 1 phrase on him now, even though back then when she won the Emperor status, she literally said, not anymore. So damn, how manipulative. Also, I know he drops dead in this scene, but honestly, that is even more of a confirmation that he comes back. This woman clearly has dark places in her mind that she isn't a fan of, and the characters constantly remind her of this, calling her a murderer, genocidal, a monster, but it really doesn't amount to anything. A lot of the movie from here is, like I said earlier, Birds of Trek, Suicide Trek, Guardians of the Trek Sphere. It gives off vibes of what most would probably call a bastardization of Trek. It also doesn't help that the comedy in this movie, which it has a lot of, is incredibly hit or miss, considering what Section 31 is supposed to be. Far be it from me to be a lore checker, and I even advocate for reinterpretations of previous themes and concepts and yada yada, but this feels like someone over there at Paramount actively hated whatever this group was previously written to be. Someone clearly thought this franchise needed a bit of quirky MCU influence, and that is no more clear than with this scene where they say the name of the weapon, the Godsend, and 2 characters get into a little tizzy about how it's pronounced.
Is it Godsend or God's End? Godsend or God's End?
I don't hear a difference in what you're saying.
Now, I need to say that this is reminiscent of a bit that would be in Star Trek Lower Decks, a show from the franchise that I like quite a bit and have made several videos on already. Star Trek Lower Decks is hit or miss too, and people have referred to that show as not real Trek. But obviously, when your show is built from the ground up to be a certain way, then it is a bit more acceptable. Section 31 is pulling from several different sources within the franchise that are already established, and it just doesn't feel right. Every line a one-liner and every scene a way to make Georgiou look like a bad bitch. And no, that's not only my words.
You're a bad bitch.
Yes, girl, you're a bad bitch that killed your family and crafted a super weapon that, if any of your enemies managed to take you down, you would activate it in order to stop there being any chance of anyone ruling after you. You a material girl, especially when your material of choice is mass murder. The most uncomfortable thing I've heard in the movie, period, is a dialogue between Georgiou and Rachel Garrett, a character that was in a couple episodes throughout the franchise, like that one episode in TNG and another in Picard. But in this movie, she's a science officer that is looking after them to make sure that they operate within the bounds of the mission, like Amanda Waller, but anyway. During this section, they are in a space fight with the main antagonist of the movie from earlier. And let me read you this dialogue exchange in full, because listen to this. This is chaos, Garrett. You know you love it, Maybe let it in, make out with it a little. It's why Starfleet put you here. Chaos is my friends with benefits. Yeah, Garrett, let's get messy. If you think I exaggerated any part of that, I didn't. I mimicked every part of it as accurately as I can without being racist. And I think I succeeded. I jumped ahead very far, but no, seriously, this entire middle of the movie is just leading up to this. There's nothing to really look forward to, so if anything, I saved you some time. There was a mole in the group, and they find the mole, which is some stupid little alien thing that can take over bodies. A team member dies during this. They reveal that Mr. 2-But-1 is the real villain, and him and Georgiou have a climactic battle on his ship. His reason for wanting to kill Georgiou is really sound, though, because he wants to become a better ruler than her. But of course, Georgiou literally says that there are no benevolent dictators, which essentially means that due to her position, she had to do all of those terrible things that he's saying he won't do. Whether that's true or not is one thing, but throughout all of this movie, this woman sends mixed signals about whether she actually regrets any of it. Hell, even the people around her treat it like it's a cute personality trait of hers, so I don't exactly buy her trying to convince this guy that he won't be like her, because to be honest, he could probably be better than her. I don't see this dude eating fucking eyeballs. Their fight concludes with her accidentally slitting his throat by kicking his sword up into it, and they have a teary-eyed encounter where he's bleeding out and he confesses his need and love for her with his dying breaths, and she says the wild line, "We are one, forever. Girl, please. I think now is a bit too late for all of that. They finally get their hands on the weapon, and Giorgio plans on using it to blow her ass up along with Alok, who is kinda into her now and wants to blow the mirror universe up along with them. It is an interesting ending for her to finally put an end to her life that was filled with tyranny and misery at her hands. So I'm really into this, but they actually get transported out and the passageway blows up anyway, and they all live happily ever after, and they are definitely setting up for either another movie or sequel series, and all I can say to that is, please take several seats, and not on the bridge, in the lower decks. That was just horrid. I had no idea what to expect from this movie, but I was saying way before I even saw a trailer that watch me like this shit. And wow, I was so wrong. I am a person that is willing to accept a lot of vapid shit, but this movie is just straight up airless. Hell, I would probably dislike it exponentially more if I actually had context for all of the shit that was going on. But even without it, it just feels wrong, even based off of the little info I already had. I don't know who any of this shit was for, because it sure as hell wasn't for me, even though they put Bae in the trailer and they put this strong, independent ass kicker at the forefront. I'm usually a slut for a lot of the elements this movie implements, but goddamn, she is a genocidal, sociopathic dictator. I would be hard-pressed to think any women are getting into formation behind that one. I ain't about to wave my moral cock everywhere, but the handling of Section 31 feels flagrantly unserious, like they read one sentence of what Section 31 was supposed to be and went from there without watching anything else related to them. I don't know a lot about this franchise, but I can tell with my untrained eye that this is a Star Trek movie in name only. But I genuinely thought that that wouldn't factor in as much, and I would enjoy it as a piece of cinema only. But nah, it is just popcorn for the eyes at some parts and cripplingly boring at others. It is a wholly unsatisfying movie, and there's just nothing there for anyone, I think. I'm easy as fuck to please, so while I like the character outfits and the banter sometimes, everything else was just not it. Everyone slays and they play their characters well, but the story just really misses the mark. So that's how I felt to watch this movie on a surface level. If you enjoyed that and you want to hear me talk about more shit like this, well, I'm not a Trek channel or anything specific, but I am a multi-fandom creator and I cover a lot of stuff similarly to this, so you should subscribe and check out my videos. I just put out a big ass video on the relationships of lower decks, and I also put out another video about Hell of a Boss, and that would be sick if you watch them. And if you really like what you saw, I got a Patreon where you can get early access to videos, and there's even a video there for free members about this anime that teaches you how to survive cancellation if you really need something like that. Plus, I'm on all relevant social medias, and I have a Discord for all cute bitches that want to converse. Also, I got a second channel that I stream on every Wednesday, and it's fun as fuck. You can ask me questions and talk to others. It's fun. So while you're checking all that shit out, make sure you stay safe, stay hydrated, and most importantly,
You're a bad bitch.
stay cute.